Recorded live on the turf at Mad Lab Training Studio in Eldersburg, Maryland. This is the Time to Win podcast with Alex and Dan. Now let's get this podcast started.
Dan, are you a napper?
No. I do enjoy naps, and I respect naps as well. If I'm napping, something is going on. So that either I'm really sick or I was out super late the night before. Something happened. You won't see me regularly napping.
Okay, so I'm an incorrigible napper, right? And that's one of the great things about being retired is you can up and take a nap, and pretty much anytime you want.
Do you nap every day?
Almost, yeah.
That's good. I think that's good.
Yeah. I set a timer though, right? So
Yeah, I always set something.
Yeah, and like other people I know, they say no, I'll just go out and I'll be out for like an hour or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, no, I'm like 25 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm instantly refreshed. It's awesome. So, yeah, I love napping.
I'm like a 20 minutes to an hour guy,
Yeah.
and I can't. People are like, if I sleep, I'll sleep all day, and I'm like, will not do that.
No.
I get too much. I'm a big fear of missing out guy.
Are you?
Big time.
Oh,
Big time.
you know-
So that's why I don't nap.
Yeah. I used to be that guy. Okay, so funny story here, right? I was in the university. I was in my second year at the university. Maybe it was my first year.
What is the university?
Like I was going to college, right?
Okay.
Okay. So
What school?
I was at the College of Worcester in Ohio.
Okay, I think you did tell me that before.
Yeah, yeah, for 2 years, right? Anyway, so one weekend on my freshman year, I was like completely like exhausted, you know, and I knew it. And somebody said, you know, you should go over to the health center and check in for the weekend. And I'm like, really?
What's that
really?
mean?
What's that? Yeah, exactly. So I was intrigued. They're like, yeah, you go over there and they'll give you a bed and you just rack out, and like you take a break from being, you know, in the university. So I went over there. I said I was exhausted. I was totally stressed out, and I needed a break. And they're like, great, we're so glad you came. And they took me down the hall to like almost like a dormitory room. There were like 12, 15 beds in there.
Yeah.
And there were other students just like me. And they're like, here's your bed, and take this medicine, right? And so what they do is they jacked me up with Valium, and I slept the whole weekend, and it was awesome. It was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's
no, it
crazy.
wasn't. But it was such a great break.
Yeah, probably was.
And you know, like we had an episode one time where we said something like, "Just ask," you know.
Yeah.
Just ask for a hand. Or ask
for a
you
break.
Want. Yeah. So I asked for a break, and man alive, did I get one.
That's crazy. I wonder if Salisbury had anything like that.
Yeah. Like,
Salisbury, if you're listening, answer us.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should do this. Take a tip from the kids back in the 70s.
Yeah, that's right.
That was awesome. You asked me how I was doing today, right?
I did.
It was a complicated answer because, you know, on Wednesday I went out and I hiked hard for like 4.5 hours, super rocky trail. And you know, I wanted to do that, right? I wanted to
Hardening sessions.
I call them hardening sessions.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that to build my body up for the Grand Canyon. So I was kind of banged up on Thursday from that experience, and I came to Mad Lab, and the coach kind of pushed me a little bit, right? Like the coach got me in some sled battles, right?
Well, your mind was feeling squirrely.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, you know, for anybody that's not getting the reference, Dan is actually the coach who was pushing me. Dan, Mad Lab Dan right over here.
What a turn of events.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the big reveal, right?
That's right. Ta-da.
So anyway, we didn't do a lot of work, but we did some hard work on sled battles. And there was one moment there where I think you were pushing with everything you had, and I was
pushed
pushing
with
back.
a lot.
You were
sure.
pushing with a lot.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to see what happens if we went toe to toe on that one.
I would say I guess if you're trying to if you're trying not to get pushed, you have an advantage because the other person is simply just pushing you into the turf.
Yeah.
So whoever's just like stationary has the advantage.
Yeah.
I'd say if we're both trying to push and get movement, I'm not sure. That would be tough.
That would be weird.
That would
Somebody
be
might
tough.
get hurt.
I
Because we'd
think
be putting a lot.
one of
into
us
it.
would see. I think I would cease to exist,
Well, okay, so fair enough.
but still be alive.
I asked you
because I can't die.
I asked you yesterday, what happens when an unstoppable force encounters an immovable object? And you noodled over that for a second, and I said, total annihilation.
I said greatness,
Greatness. Stalemate.
entertainment.
Right, entertainment. Okay, so that's how I'm feeling today. I got out of bed this morning and like my calves were not working. They're so tight. Because I was up on the balls of my feet, going hard in the lab yesterday, driving that sled. I had been out on the trail for hours and hours the day before. So I just went through the protocol. I loosened up, I warmed up, I stretched, I rolled, I stretched, I rolled, I stretched more. I walked around the house, and no kidding, like in 30, 40 minutes, I was loosened up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was feeling pretty sassy. So, how do I feel today? I feel sassy. I feel
It's good for the podcast.
I feel belligerent. I feel defiant. And that might lead us into some interesting discussion today. And the best/worst part of it all is I probably had maybe one, maybe two drinks too many last night,
God bless you.
and I woke up with cobwebs in my head.
I did the same thing. I was drinking on some bamboo rum
Yeah.
while I was watching the NFL draft. It got wild.
So I wanted to ask you, Dan. So that's how I'm doing, right? I kind of give it to you in 10,000 words or less. I'm doing okay. How was the draft?
The draft was amazing.
Yeah, I know it's one of your big holidays. So
Yes.
tell me, how did that go? Like, what did you see? What did you learn?
So I love the NFL draft. It's like it really is like Christmas to me. And I even dedicated a website to it and did all sorts of stuff with it. NFLteambuilder.com. And
Let's do that one more time for the listeners, because get your pencils out, kids. Write this one down.
it's not that.
Hit it. It's
NFLteambuilder.com.
.com.
So it's just a website based around like how I feel like teams should build their business, and I think the draft is a big part of that. I get interested in it because I love like business building and talent scouting, and that's pretty much what the draft is.
Right.
And I was very excited because we moved up in front of a rival and took a player that I love and I thought was the best cornerback in the draft, Terrion Arnold. So I was very excited about that.
Where's Arnold coming from?
Alabama.
Okay. They make some good football down there.
They really do. And we like drafting Alabama players. We
Yeah.
drafted an Alabama defensive back in Brian Branch last year.
Okay.
So interesting stuff.
Well,
I could talk for like 5 hours on that stuff.
You told me the other day you like that better than the actual season, than the games, right? And I think that's cool because, for you, it's not just about, it is about football, but it's more about like you said, building the business, right? It's fun to watch young talent come in and fight for their jobs. But, to me, although I don't really watch the draft, I imagine it's like you're seeing the future of the NFL evolving in front of your very eyes.
For sure.
How cool is that?
Really cool, because then you also see it's becoming more of an offensive league. So the first time ever, we got 14 offensive players drafted before one single defensive player was
No
drafted,
kidding.
which had never happened before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was kind of wild seeing. I also think it's cool to see you see these regimes changes all the time, right? So you have new general managers. Sometimes you have a new owner for the Commanders right now.
All right.
So then it's you have no idea what to expect from all of them, and then you can kind of see how the new general managers, new owners, new coaches look at a team and the way that they want to put that into action,
Right.
by who they're drafting, and you can see if they're are they over their head with everything? Are they actually right in the mix of things, and are they starting a new trend on their own? There's so many different things that can happen, and I love stuff like that.
Did you have any big surprises?
Yeah, I was surprised, just like everybody else in the world, that Atlanta just got Kirk Cousins from Minnesota, paid him a lot of money to be there, and Kirk got hurt last year, so he's coming off an injury. But a lot of people would consider him a top 10 quarterback, depending on who you talk to. So Atlanta's swinging for the fences, and it looks like they're a Super Bowl or bust team.
Wow.
And then they drafted a quarterback at 8. So then they drafted Michael Penix Jr., which floored everybody.
Right. I seem to remember somebody telling me about that this morning. Where's Penix from?
He's Washington,
Okay.
University of Washington. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Huskies?
Yeah.
All right,
He's a
go
Husky.
Huskies.
Yeah.
Woof, woof.
Yep. Woof, woof. So that was very surprising. But then that was a look in the long term when the GM was talking about it. He was like, "Well, Cousins' contract is 2 years. Before we felt like we didn't have a quarterback room. Now we were very comfortable with a quarterback room, whether there's an injury or we're going to groom Penix for the future. There's no urgency for him to play now." And then they also said, which I thought was kind of cool, they don't expect to be drafting that early ever again. So
wow,
we're in the top 10 right now.
That's
this
a
could be the
statement.
last. It is.
Wow.
So I thought, I could see like both sides of why people were floored, but then also why they did what they did. So I thought that was cool.
Okay, I got another question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question, and then I actually have a draft answer for you. But I also want to tell you, yesterday you said you had some questions you wanted to ask me. Do you still have questions you want to
I
ask
have
me?
questions every day.
Okay, all right.
You go ahead and ask yours.
I'm
I'll
gonna
rant
ask
about
this.
something.
Did you do your homework?
Oh, son of a...
Son
shit.
of a sea biscuit.
I'm not kidding. I thought about it when I got out of here on Friday, and then it just escaped my mind.
Okay, so
We were getting a new car and everything. Jules got a new car, by the way.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Did she get a new car, like a brand new car, or new for her?
New for her.
And
Yeah,
did
yeah.
she get the car she wanted?
She got the exact car that she wanted, and she is thrilled.
And she paid the price she wanted?
Yes, better actually.
Even better.
And it was a fight. It was a 3-day battle, and Jules was very upset one night.
Yeah.
Because they tried to kind of bully her at the dealership. I even went there from Mad Lab. I went down to Clarksville. We sat there. We told them no because they wouldn't come through with the price, and they were just being ridiculous. We left there. She was a little upset she didn't get the car, but I was like, Jules, it's a war of attrition, and you're winning. Mm-hmm. That's what I told her. The next day, they texted her, and I said, I think you should say this, just stay with your prices. She said that, and then they met her at her price.
Yeah.
And they also
Dan,
kind of made a mistake and then lowered it even more, so she even got more money
that's
off.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Dan, it's life is a game of at-bats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way you said that. It was a war of attrition, right?
And you're winning.
If you just keep coming back, you're winning, okay?
Yeah.
If you just keep coming back and getting back in the ring or swinging for the fences constantly, you are gonna connect at some point, and you're going to hit
At
the
some
home run.
point, yeah. And that's what you're going. Life is all about home runs.
It is. Well,
That's right, Mike. You know it is.
I mean, I would
Mike's
say it's all
laughing over
about
there.
it's all about at bats, but you don't get a home run unless you're at bat, right?
It's a power league.
It's a
Life is a power league. We want home run hitters.
Okay. So you did not do your homework though.
No, I did. No. And then the NFL draft was this week. And I was doing my website stuff.
I asked you a yes or no
I'm full of
question.
excuses.
I don't want them.
Just like in school.
No, I don't want your excuses. Your excuses don't get the homework done. All right. Hey,
Okay.
kids, write that down. Excuses don't get the homework done. The only thing that gets the homework done is doing the homework. All right. So
I'll tell you what it is. Tagline.
it is.
I am chaos magnet home run hitter. That's it.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure that
I'm feeling full of chaos today.
if that's your business brand, I'm probably not coming in the door. Okay. Right.
Hey, you might not be buying, but you're interested.
Yeah, I'm not. I got enough chaos as it is. Thank you. I got one for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, producer Mike, you might want to write this one down.
Yeah, write this down, Mike.
Okay.
Write it down.
Building better humans at the speed of life.
At the speed of life. That is actually pretty cool.
I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Patience, presence, results. Okay, I mean,
How do you make these up? That's brilliant.
It's okay, all right. I mean, it's okay. It's okay, but
I would say it's more than okay.
it's got to be something quick and easy, like chaos. Yeah, chaos personified or whatever it was you said. Chaos in a can, lightning in a bottle. I don't know.
Agent of chaos.
Agent of chaos, right? But Dan, I've been working with you for almost 2 years now, and you're always there. You're always paying attention to what I need. You're willing to go on that long path with me, and we're getting results, right? I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, I feel like we're getting some breakthroughs, right?
I do think we are.
Yeah. Like the mobility is increased. The stuff that was stuck is starting to loosen up. The strength that was always there is still there, you know? So that's it, building better humans. We talked about that before.
I will say that's one of my, like that kind of goes across one of my pet peeves really with life in general. Like we talked about, like you should have a goal, right? If you're training, you should have a goal, and if you're training somebody, you should have a goal for somebody. Like they'll have their goals, but then you should also have like things that are set. And one of my big goals, and I was just telling this to a new trainer with people, is if they have some like movement limitations or they have some pain or whatever, then some mobility and corrective stuff is good. But one of the goals should be, can you get them more into a strength and conditioning session and have that like hold, as in like they don't do that and then they end up with pain and stuff. But like if they're not feeling great or they're like whatever, can it still be more towards a strength and conditioning session instead of like a mobility corrective session? If you get to somebody to that place and you've done them a world of good from any kind of standpoint, whatever their goals are, for sure. Definitely from a movement standpoint, definitely from just a quality of life standpoint. So I think that is really important.
Yeah. You know, when I was back in the biz, I had to interview people a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And I would ask them a question, like, you know, you go to interviews and people are like, well, tell me about your career a little bit, or tell me about
5-year plan.
Yeah, I
can't tell you my 5-year plan right now.
Yeah, I don't think those are good interview questions, right? But I'm interested in understanding the character of the person that I'm going to be working with. Okay?
I always ask them, I say, tell me about a time that you screwed up and what you did about it.
Totally. I ask the same question. I say, tell me about the greatest failure in your life.
Yeah.
Right? And what happened? And, you know, then I learned something about,
I would have said being born, and then I would have said I lived.
Yeah. You didn't, I don't think you had much choice in the being born part, okay?
Not a whole lot.
But you did something with it, right?
I did. I'm still alive.
But we used to ask that question a lot. I'd ask them the question, why are you here? Like what do you want? And that caught a lot of people off guard, right? And you know, we would get some good answers sometimes though. Like we had a person that say, I need a job, right? This is the profession I'm in. I mean, I want to work for your company because it's a good company, but honestly, I need the job. I have a mortgage, I have mouths to feed, you know, and I need a paycheck, man. That's why I'm here.
I want to provide.
And we were like, yeah, that's a pretty good answer, actually. You know, you're honest, you're authentic, okay, and you're in need. We might have a place for you,
possibly.
Right? But like when people come in and
for me, I would say that wouldn't get somebody hired for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that by itself is not the go no go question, but you know, it's a building block. The answer to that question is a building block. Like, you know, what did you do with your greatest failure? Nothing. I failed. I didn't learn a damn thing from it. Okay, thanks for your time.
Yeah,
you're not hired. Goodbye.
Because that job question I ask, like, if I'm interviewing, I always do a phone interview first, right?
Yeah.
So I look at the resumes, I look at everything. If I like somewhat what I see. And resumes or whatever, they can be all over the place. So I just have some things that catch my interest. I don't even care about the organization of it because most people were never taught how to really write a resume. So then I'll look some stuff. If I find some stuff that I like, then I'll go, all right, this person. Right. I'll send them some times where we can do phone interviews, do a phone interview. One of the first questions I ask is I go, well, you know, thank you for applying to MadLab. What made you choose MadLab?
Right.
And one of the worst answers that I hear a lot is, oh, yeah, I needed a job. And I'm like, and? Like, well, I know that. That's why you apply. Yeah. I know that you need a job, otherwise you wouldn't apply. But, like, tell me why us.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell me why us, if you cannot, like, do any research on it at all, you didn't even have to do research before. You knew the phone call is there. I didn't call you out of the blue. So then go, oh, Dan's going to call me at 12. So even if it's 11:45, I could research something about MadLab.
That's right.
You know, show some interest, like show something.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I'm like,
look at the Instagram feed. Come on.
Anything.
Yeah. Who are your mentors? Right.
That's a good one too.
Who are your mentors? Who are your role models?
That'd be
why? And why? Right. Like I tell you about
Mike Hamilton. Mike's pointing at himself over there.
But Yeah, you can learn a lot about a person by asking those kinds of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I got another question for you, Dan.
Those are also questions that I think, because you and I were talking about like, when was your reunion?
It's not here yet. It's in 2
okay,
weeks.
okay.
It's in 2 weeks.
I gotta keep tabs on that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking about like stupid conversations, right? It's the same thing with the interviews, right? I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you're. I want to know something in depth about you. I want to know about your passion. Same thing when you're in real conversation with a random person.
Yeah.
Like, how is work? How are your kids? I don't know. Tell me something that your kid lit a fire at school.
Yeah.
Whoa, tell me all about that. Now I'm
you got my
interested.
attention.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or they did something cool. Or they said something cool, like whatever, but not like some general. Everybody's good. Work is good. Boring still. I don't want to have those conversations. I want to have something interesting.
Yeah. So did I tell you the story about the guy that lived in the grass hut on the beach?
Wait, this does ring a bell.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the story again because I don't know if we did this on camera or not.
This I don't think wasn't on camera.
Okay, so
do you remember Grass Hut Boy? The old GHB.
Okay.
Tell it again.
All right. So, Mike, if we've heard this story before and it's on a previous
we'll
episode,
cut it out.
Cut it out. But
yeah.
We were interviewing for a process engineer once, and we came across this resume of a kid. He had great credentials, right? Great universities, excellent transcript, and then he fell off the map for 2 years.
So you had a gap in
there was a gap.
Yeah.
You're curious now.
Always.
Why the gap?
Yeah.
Right? So we're talking to him, and there's some chemistry, and we like the guy, but we're curious. So we ask, okay, Mark. By the way, the guy's name was Mark Tomusiak.
Okay.
All right. So Mark,
Shout out to Mark.
Yeah, if you ever watch the podcast, this episode's about you, Mark. So,
there's a good chance that he does because
I mean, he already knows this story, right? Because we were so amazed by it. So. Okay, Mark, why the 2-year gap? And he's like, yeah, that one's easy. I graduated from with my master's degree in mechanical engineering or chemical engineering or something, some highbrow engineering pursuit. And I knew that the rest of my life I was going to be working for the man. And I wouldn't have a chance to not be working for the man. So I moved to Australia and I lived in a hut on the beach, and I surfed every day for 2 years. That's what I was doing. Because I wasn't ever going to get the chance to do something like that again. And it was like, dude, you are hired.
Yeah.
Right?
Anybody that has the wherewithal to do that, just follow a passion like that.
Yeah.
And then also to not only do that, but then cut it off and be like, all right, now I'm going to go do this.
Done.
That's
Check
something, that's hard to argue with.
Yeah. And so,
all right,
the guy, great chemistry, superb engineer, good friend to everybody, fit in with the team, unique human being, awesome in all regards.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it still is, apparently.
Yeah, I've never heard that story.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
it. That's the story. Okay. So I guess all the preambles are over. I've got a couple different questions I could ask you, Dan. But you said you had stuff yesterday. You seemed to have a couple things you wanted.
I always have some rants and stuff. Let me tell you something. I want to rant about real quick though,
okay,
because
go
this
ahead.
came up in a conversation. I don't understand. On the surface, I understand it, but in depth, I don't understand why we have insurance. Insurance companies are I don't understand why they exist.
Yeah.
You know what an insurance company reminds me of? It reminds me of somebody that comes up to you and goes, "Hey, Alex, you need to pay me for protection. You don't pay for protection." And then you're like, "What are you talking about, Dan?" And then I shatter your window, and I'm like, "Pay for protection."
Okay, that's different. That's extortion.
It's the same.
Okay. I love where you're going with this. I'm going to take the counterpoint. Okay. Hey, Dan, did I ever tell you the story about Janet and Curtis?
You have not told me about J&C.
Janet and Curtis are close friends of ours in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, you may have heard of something called the Marshall Fire, which swept through a community south of Boulder and destroyed it, right?
Okay.
Janet and Curtis's house burned to the ground with everything in it. They escaped literally with their lives and the clothes on their back.
That's a horrible thing for sure.
Horrible thing.
I'm glad that they survived.
All of their treasures, their keepsakes, their papers, everything gone. Curtis, by the way, is the sheriff of Boulder County, okay, right? And he's a swell guy, so we love you, Curtis. We love you too, Janet. But they lost everything, right? But they had insurance. And Janet had updated their insurance to include, like, more or less an inventory of everything that they owned. And they went to the insurance company. And, they, you know, over the course of their home ownership, you know, they had probably paid, I don't know, maybe $75,000 or $80,000 in premiums over the years, right? The insurance company came in, reviewed their claim. They had coverage for fire, and the insurance company was like, "This is a no-brainer. Done." Not wrote the check, but covered everything. And the cost of their site cleanup, home rebuild, and refurbishing of all of their possessions ran somewhere around $1.5 million. Okay, that's insurance, Dan. Okay, that's worth it. To me, that's worth it.
So that's like the regular. That is what regularly happens.
That's why you get insurance. Okay,
So, but
you
then
pay, you pay into the system
for a lottery ticket.
No,
But that is what it is, because here's my other argument.
Yeah.
So how profitable are insurance companies?
they're profitable enough.
Very profitable.
Yeah,
60 to 80% profitable,
Okay, I'm still listening.
which is wild to me. So that means that almost nobody benefits from insurance except for the companies, because they exist just for large scale profits.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have with it. I like the idea of insurance in general, but to have this many insurance companies and also them sway things to do however that they want to, like they have lobbyists that do all sorts of things. They change the rules just like we talked about. And then a lot of times, especially in like life insurance, is the wildest one to me. It's so hard to get a payment out of health insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance. That doesn't always, like that's rarely the case that you get written a check right away like that without some extensive battling. We have Dr. Sean in here, and I know the fights that they have with insurance all the time, with just health insurance, just people's health you're fighting for all the time. It's just, that's crazy to me. And it's all in an event. It's all with a strategy in mind to be very profitable.
Okay, fair enough. I believe everyone's entitled to make a living. Okay?
Yeah, I do believe that too,
Okay.
yes.
Maybe insurance companies are making more money than they ought to, but I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm so glad I have insurance. I don't like the way it works. Okay?
Right.
But man, when I go in and like I went to see my cardiologist, I don't know, 2 years ago, and cardiologist says, "Yeah, you know what? I think I'd like you to go get like a CT calcium scan, right?
Right.
We're going to take pictures of your heart and see if you got blockage." And I did. I got the scan. I had blockage, not enough to matter. It was more like scar tissue, really, right? And that's cool to know that, right? Because you can develop a treatment protocol or a lifestyle plan that's gonna take care of that, right? Or somehow, work around it, whatever. But here's the rub. I got the bill, okay? I ended up paying $0.
For the scan?
For the scan.
How much would a scan cost otherwise?
Okay, that's a great
like
question.
$50?
That's a great question.
Because that's how much it should maybe cost.
Let's consider how much does the machine cost that does the scan.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an expensive machine.
It's an expensive machine,
Yes.
right? It's maybe $1 million. That's a nice figure to work with. Let's say the machine costs $1 million.
Could.
And you got to pay somebody to run it.
Yes.
And you got to pay the electricity bill to keep the machine on. And you got to pay a dock. And there's costs associated with,
for sure,
initial setup and then operation, right? And then throw a profit margin on top of that, right? And everybody's going to want to take a cut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know what it actually costs to get the scan, but I got the bill for that, and insurance covered everything, and the cost of the scan was like, I don't know, $7,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's where it gets really interesting to me. I don't think it actually costs $7,000. I think that's a number that they made up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the insurance company is going to talk to the doc, and they'll figure something out where maybe what they'll actually cover is $1,000. Okay. Right. And they'll say, okay, we're going to call it a $7,000 procedure. We're going to pay $1,000 for it, and Alex pays nothing because he's already in the program. He's all paid up. What happens to that other $6,000? Right. That's an interesting thing, right? I've got $7,000 on paper. I've got $1,000 paid up. What happened to the difference? Can I write that off somehow? Can I leverage that to my tax advantage?
I'm all about leveraging things to the tax advantage for sure. I just feel like the health insurance can create whatever cost that they want, and then they also create how the doctors get paid out.
They do.
Right, because that's a huge issue in physical therapy right now. And then they just passed, like within the last 3 or 4 years, another bill that let the insurance companies pay physical therapists less.
Yeah. So I get into this biz with my insurers. They say, oh, we're not going to cover that. And so I call them up. Right?
Yeah.
And this is where it gets fun too. And by the way, I still like insurance. I'm damn glad I have it. I'm on the fence perhaps about how the business is run.
Yes.
Okay. You're clearly not on the fence.
Clearly, if all insurance burned down tomorrow, I would be very happy.
I wouldn't. I'd be very poor, right?
Nah, everything would be fine.
No.
We would figure it out. We'd figure it out, Alex.
Eventually, but not. But at my expense, I think.
No.
Anyway,
it would be
so
it's already at your expense. They're profiting massively off you right now.
They can't be making very much money off of me because my premiums are super low. Right?
They're making money off most.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like most people, for you to have profit margins like that, you have to be benefiting off almost everybody.
Yeah, those profit margins go in the trash as soon as something big happens, right? Like entire communities get wiped out, and the insurance companies are like paying out hundreds of claims instead of individual
claims. But they also find
claims.
ways to not pay some of those claims, and then those are nightmare cases, and they're doing that on purpose.
So here's a pro tip then, a life hack for you, Dan. When I get denied coverage for a claim that I make, a health insurance claim, I call them up, right? And I ask them, I tell them, I'm challenging this claim. You have denied coverage for this. Before we go any further, could I ask, what are your medical credentials? And the person on the phone immediately folds because they don't. They have a degree, and they have a degree in English or something like that, right? They have no technical basis for being able to. They have no medical basis for denying that claim. I said, I have been diagnosed by a board-certified specialist with a particular condition. This is the treatment protocol that is the universal standard of care, and you have denied coverage for that on the basis of something. Is it your medical knowledge? And they say, no, it's not. And I said, okay, then I want you to escalate this call to the next level of service, please. I'd like to speak to your manager, or better yet, I'd like to speak to somebody on your medical advisory team, right? And then my claim gets approved. Right?
You know what
because
I thought about?
they don't have it.
So I think that's an excellent method. I also think that's why there's I feel like people need to have like a medical advocate.
Yes.
I think that's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that go through such crappy care, and really if they had like some kind of like strategy like that, sometimes just small things, it would matter. I tried to get my son's mom to like open a business like that. I feel like she would be an excellent medical advocate.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. You know, we were talking the other day about this. Not about medical advocacy. Most people are not capable of advocating for themselves, right? And
unfortunately,
that really sucks.
It does suck, and they shouldn't be left behind. I think.
And I think so. A lot of people don't know how to advocate for themselves. A lot of people are too good-natured to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of okay, I guess. But you know, like if you're getting taken advantage of, you know, you shouldn't let your good nature perpetuate that, right? But I told you the story of a
Like
guy.
car dealerships. I'm losing money on this deal. That's my favorite line that all of them say all the time.
Yeah. How much? Well, it's like the insurance companies, right? Like, I wrote $7,000 for the procedure. The insurance company paid out $1,000. I'm losing money. Yeah. You lost $6,000. No, you didn't. You still made
you did not.
$750 or something. I don't know, right? But I told you the story about the guy that was going out to his mailbox, right? And he looked like he was crippled. And he couldn't have been much older than me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 63. This guy was in his late 60s. Maybe he was 70. He was clearly overweight, but he was crippled.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he was crippled, but my heart went out to this guy. And I talked to some of my friends that are in similar health situations, right? They're becoming increasingly sedentary, increasingly immobile, increasingly uncapable, right? Unfit. And some of them are so defiant. They're like, I'm not going to go see a doctor. Doctors are BS.
Which is fine if you have a strategy to fix yourself.
Right. And I think people don't. I mean, the types of people I'm talking about, the people that are so defiant, they're like, I'm not going to give up red meat. I'm not going to quit smoking.
I have another.
I'm not going to the gym.
Rant about that, because then those are the same people. A lot, not all of them, but a lot of times with that defiance, you get the same people that are complaining about other people, right? They're like, I hate these people that don't work. I hate people that are not on welfare and doing all this stuff. I'm like, your health is putting you on a form of welfare, and I am paying for it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's the same difference. It's just a different category that you're doing. So it drives me crazy.
So I made the comment to you the other day, your defiance is misguided or misplaced, right?
You did say
that. Okay, I'm the pharma pro with a punk rock past.
Yeah.
Defiance is part of my character. You see me do it in the gym. You will see me
do it every day.
Line myself up to get hurt in the gym, right? Because I'm so defiant, and that's misplaced defiance, right? But defiance is fundamentally a good thing because it allows you to pick up the phone and say, I'd like to speak to your medical supervisor, please, about denying my claim, right? That's well-guided, well-placed defiance, right?
Well-placed defiance.
But so much of our defiance is misguided and misplaced. And man, I would love to harness that energy and redirect it in the vectors that it's supposed to be directed towards.
Yeah.
I think defiance is fundamentally a good thing for sport and beneficial to the human race. Dan, convince me otherwise.
But I will not take the counterpoint.
Okay. Let's see here. I got a couple more things here on the clipboard of doom. Producer Mike, how are we doing with time? I saw the screen flash. What are we like 45? We got 4 minutes.
Let me give a shout out.
Okay, before you give a shout out, I want to go on a little bit of a rant.
Oh, I already like this.
Okay,
go ahead,
Dan.
It's got to come out.
Are you on fire?
Am I on fire?
Yeah, like I see you most of the time. You're on fire.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you got a lot of enthusiasm. You're wound up about something.
I am wound up.
You know, like
it's NFL draft week. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but Dan, like the other 51 weeks out of the year, you're still wound up.
Okay? Yeah, true. That's true.
And that's good.
Because we're leading up to the draft, maybe.
One of my mentors told me, you must burn. Okay, right? And I get it, right? Like, sometimes, like when I was in the biz, I'd be like typing furiously with one hand, the keyboard smoking, and I'd be choking out a grizzly bear with the other hand as missiles were incoming with me, and the flames were just spreading, right? I was so on fire all the time, right? And my mentor said, you must burn, okay? and it worked, right? Like, there's nothing in the world that feels as good as just burning, right? When you're in that zone, in the flow, and you're grinding out reps and you're burning, or you're on the field and you're winning and you're on fire and you're burning, you're in the flow, right? And then my mentor said something that like just threw gasoline on that fire. My mentor said, if you are on fire with enthusiasm, the world will pay money to watch you burn. And I was like, yeah, you know. And
That's true.
And you know what? That fueled that defiance that I bring, the punk rock ethos, and that burn, like the desire to be on fire all the time, fueled my career and fueled so much of what I was doing, and it made things happen. It made magic happen. I got paid to burn, and that was awesome. You know, so Dan, that'll be my parting shot today. If you're on fire with enthusiasm, the world will pay money, big money,
quote.
to watch you burn. And I think that's awesome. I think that's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing.
All right. Okay, so there you go, man. Do we? Is it shout out time
yes.
now?
If you ever find your car burning and on fire, then I'd say reach out to my friends at CNA Auto, post haste. I would say. Adam over there will take care of you. His mechanics will take care of you. Miss Kelly's over there. She'll take care of you. Great place, great prices, excellent work, honest mechanics, which is a rarity these days. You want to go over to my friends at CNA Auto in Eldersburg, Maryland, across from the Mad Lab complex.
Yeah, okay, so Dan, I'll shout out to Mad Lab. I rolled in the door at Mad Lab 2 years ago. I was a broken human. Yeah, my wife pushed me in on a gurney in a body bag. You unzipped the body bag and said, "I think we can help this guy." and you know what? It's been no quits ever since.
No quits ever since.
I was one heartbeat away from death. You guys hit me with the paddles and got me back on my feet. You started working the magic. We got mobility back. We got power back. We got the one thing that I love about coming to Mad Lab is you let me get all that psych out too, right? I bring my stoke in there almost every day, and you guys throw gasoline on my stoke, and the place explodes.
Oh, everything's on fire here all the time.
Yeah, it's awesome. So kids, if you find yourself increasingly immobile, increasingly incapable of getting stuff done, you want to come to Mad Lab, you want to hit the factory reset button, talk to one of the coaches over here, get back on your feet, get back in the game, and catch on fire.
Yeah. Alex, you're the man.
Dan, I'm nobody. I'm just some guy. But thanks for asking.
Thank you, guys.